good evening, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. This is Nomna. Once again, we are here. It's a Friday, day 3 of the BU101 Zazi Challenge. Today, we are on day 3. Gosh, I'm so excited that we're moving right along. We're almost halfway through the 7 day. It's a 7 day challenge. While we're doing this BU101, I've been working on this masterclass content for a very long time. I've asked you guys many questions, I've sent out surveys and so forth. We've had informal conversations around this, and now I felt like I'm ready to actually start having these conversations. They're more informal, I'm testing the waters, getting myself used to talking about authenticity, right? That's what it's about. It's about sharing some tips and tricks on how you can be more you, more authentic. Why is it necessary? In the world that we live in today, authenticity is everything. There is so much noise. There are so many people and there are so many opportunities, but at the same time, because the competition is so rife, we just get swallowed up. And the one way that we are able to show up well in this day and age is by being our most authentic self, because no one can compete with your authenticity because there's only one you, right? All right, so what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about why am I running a blank? Oh, yeah. Today we're talking about your ancestral lineage. We're talking about yourself, right? We are talking about being your authentic self, being confident in your authentic self. And today we'll be talking about your ancestors, your lineage, where you come from, the people that were before you, how you became who you are, and what that actually really means in the bigger scheme of things, and how you can take advantage of that in your quest to being more authentic and living from the inside out. All right, before I proceed, who am I? You may not know me. My name is Ncumisa Nomna Mbusi. You can call me Nomna. I am a writer. I've recently written a self discovery journal. I'm a mom of 3 babies. I'm a design entrepreneur who really just crazy about design, and right now I'm dabbling into creating my own fashion line. I'm also an adventure lover. I'm a tree hugger. I love peace, love, unity, harmony, and all of those glorious things. And I'm a difference maker. I love making a difference in people's lives, which is why I am a self mastery coach. I've dedicated myself to helping people find themselves. I've dedicated my life to making sure that I inspire specifically rural and migrant Africans to celebrate their authenticity. And I do this by guiding them to new experiences, new thinking, and sustainable ways of working. So I do this through mentoring and coaching conversations, this being one of those. Through my writings, the journal being another one, through art and design, like I've mentioned recently, I have a design brand Zenwa, and now we've actually started producing in-house, and I am one of the head designers. Kudos. Hi, Sorte. Welcome to the session. Thank you very much. We are both on time today. Yippee! It's a fun Friday. So I have my glass of wine today. So we will have a great time. It's a Friday afternoon, evening. It's a winter, so wine is good. We're gonna have fun. Let's get on with it. Nah? All right. All right. So today we're talking about a birth clan, isiduko. Uh, in Zulu they call it isibongo, isithakazelo. In Sotho ke Yo, kisbongo, sisbongo, isduko, a birth clan. So what exactly is a birth clan? If you're not an African, you don't know what a birth clan is, or in your culture you do not have such. A birth clan is basically a social structure that is found in some traditional societies, specifically in Africans, it's very common. And most other indigenous cultures that tend to have birth clans. It refers to a group of people that are related to each other through their maternal lineage, or whether it's maternal or paternal. In a birth clan system, a child belongs to the same clan as their mother, right? And all members of the clan are considered to be relatives. So, why are birth clans important? Um, we know that if you're an African and you enter an African homestead, some of the first things that people will acknowledge when they enter is the birth clan of the homestead in itself. They will start greeting using the that whole lineage. OnoZulu liyasibekela, nomthathambo kweliphezulu. That is my birth clan now, right? And when people come and arrive in my home, usually you will hear them by calling out the birth clan, No Zulu. They're now announcing that we are here. We've arrived at the home of the No Zulus. Please acknowledge our presence, right? So why are birth clans important? Tracing the family lineage, it requires dedication, it requires patience and willingness to explore, but the rewards can be significant because they can help us discover our family's history, and by discovering our family history, we tend to gain a deeper understanding of our own identity. As you know, you didn't just fall off the sky for you to be on earth, you were birthed onto the earth. So when you are looking into your birth clan, you are basically looking into the people that made you, that brought you into the earth, basically. That thread line of all those people that came before you came onto the earth. Also, when you're tracing your family lineage, what happens is you find that you gain insights into the lives of your ancestors, and therefore you also connect with the living relatives and you build meaningful relationships with them. As you know, in African adage, we say that umntu ngubuntu ngabantu, like you are because of others, right? No man is an island, right? And as we talk about this today, one thing that I remembered during the day as I was preparing for the session was the fact that I think it was last week I was opening the Bible. I tend to do that now and again when I'm having a prayer moment. I just flip the Bible wherever it lands. And on that particular day, I landed at a point where the writer, I'm not sure which of the gospel writers it was, that had told the story of when Jesus was actually reciting his ancestors, his lineage of ancestors, and they are reading there, and there are a long list, from Joseph and them to David to Abraham, all the way to Adam. It was a long list, and I read it, and I kept thinking to myself, oh my God, this is so fascinating that Jesus could actually relate his lineage of ancestors, and most of them, of course, it's those same ancestors that have been written about in the Old Testament, like your Davids and your Abrahams and your Solomons and Sauls and um, um, you know Abel and Cain, and that entire lineage up until you get to the first man, who is Adam. So imagine if Jesus saw it necessary that he relates his ancestors. We are no different because remember, we come from the same lineage, right? But we are far, far, far down the line, right? And chances are we may not necessarily count through our own lineage all the way back to Adam. However, the most important thing is being able to relate or know some of your ancestors. It makes you feel grounded, you know, it makes you feel grounded. There's a sense of likeness. You know that it's not just you that is like this. You have inherited this being from somewhere, right? You know that this soul that exists within you, it's not new soul, it's old. It comes with ancestral wisdom from all the people that came before you. Because remember, wisdom is carried through DNA. When you come onto the earth, you come with DNA that is infused with wisdom from all the people that were before you. Right? Right. So, in you tapping into your ancestral lineage, one, you can find yourself discovering a sense of purpose and continuity with your own life. Because, in a way, you kind of understand why you came onto the earth at this particular point in time, in this particular lineage, doing the work that you're doing, playing the role that you're playing, because then you have a sense of belonging and you have a sense of guidance, you have a sense of reference in terms of I'm here on this earth in this lineage for this reason. These are the people that came before me, and these are the characteristics of my people as a clan, as a gene, as a DNA system. And by virtue of that, that means that if there were, for example, these intellectuals that had all this intellect, by virtue of that, that means that I'm also intellectual like them. If there were, for example, prayer warriors that could shake the heavens and the earth with their prayers, by you being on this planet at this point in time, you understand that this means that I also am a prayer warrior because I'm carrying those DNAs and I'm continuing that lineage. Right? Right. All right. Hi, Randy. Nice to have you around. Welcome to the session B101. I'm not sure if you've seen the recording from day one or day two. We're on day 3 today. If you want to catch up what we're doing, day 1, day 2, you're welcome to have a look. All the replays are on the profile. All right. So what are the common aspects that you will find in a clan? The bloodline, right? And sometimes it's marital ties, right? However, members of a clan, they typically have a shared history, a shared culture and traditions, and they have a strong sense of loyalty and mutual support for each other. I think that is the aspect that I personally appreciate the most about being close to your family clan, because you don't feel alone. You know, you have people that support you through life, you know. And of course, if you nurture that relationship with your family clan, that means that you have a stronger sense of system that will help you to go through life as you go through this life. So, your origins. Now, I pose a question to you. Can you assess your birth clan? As I pose this question, the first thing that comes to my mind is I remember very well that not so long ago, maybe as far back as 10 years ago, I could not really relate my family lineage from both maternal and paternal to that much extent, you know, because it wasn't something that I had paid attention to. And to be honest, I had not even realized it's something important until a time came where like the universe literally just pulled me out of my my you know, of course, I was just being ignorant. So the universe pulled me out of that ignorance and put me on a position where I had to now dig deeper into my ancestral lineage. How that happened? It happened through me finding myself losing my parents at a young age. Well, I say young because I had not expected them to leave me at that point in time, because I mean I was 35, 36 when my mom passed away, and automatically that meant that now I had to take on responsibilities and roles that I had not prepared myself for as such, because they were their responsibilities and roles. And now that my mom was not there anymore, I had to now step into those roles and responsibilities, which wasn't easy. And it was a journey of preparing myself and transitioning myself from thinking of myself as Misa and my children to now thinking of, oh, there's a family structure that I belong to, and there's a specific role that I play in that structure. The role comes with certain responsibilities, and I need to now start focusing on that. All right. So, how can you then, in your instance, for example, if you are in this masterclass right now and you're thinking to yourself, look, I know I have a mother and father and grandfather and grandmother from both sides. There's uncles, there's aunts, there's greats, but I've never bothered. Why does it matter to me? Well, it does matter because at some point in time, you will have to take on some of the responsibilities that you have been entrusted with when you came onto the earth. So it's important that you trace your family lineage. It is a fascinating and fulfilling endeavor that can reveal valuable insights about your heritage. For me, what had happened was when I started digging deeper into my my family lineage, I started picking up certain patterns that I had not noticed before. Things like, for example, the people that I had most cherished out of the ancestors and all the ancestors that I'd known when they were alive and they were no longer alive. Now I started getting to know more about their lives, and I realized I started picking up certain things about them that I could relate to within myself. And now so many things started making sense. Why am I like this? Why do I do things that way? Why do I think like this? Now things started making sense, you know? So if you wanna now start tracing your family lineage, how can you start? Or how can you go about it? Of course, it's a daunting task, but you have to start somewhere, right? So I've prepared a few helpful tips that can help you get started on that journey. First, speak with your relatives. Ask them about your ancestors, right? They may have memories, they may have stories, or even old documents that can provide clues about your family's history. You might find that when I was busy doing all the cleaning up, I started discovering things like funeral programs of all the relatives that my father went to their funerals. I think he had a tendency of keeping those um, the programs, right? And then I started reading them and started finding out more information about some of the aunts that passed away long before I was even born. And this was so exciting because now I started understanding how all of these cousins that I have, how they relate to me. We have a new viewer in the house. Lenato, hi, welcome to the session. We are almost halfway, but I'm sure you can catch up. You can maybe watch from the start when we're done. Thank you for being here. We are talking about, today we're talking about your ancestral lineage and the importance of following up on that. All right. So when you speak to your relatives and you ask them about your ancestors, you will find out very interesting information that can actually make you that much more proud about who you are, right? Secondly, another way that you can gather and verify information by connecting thorough research in libraries, archives, and online databases. Um, that process can be time consuming, but it is essential to ensure the accuracy of your findings. Another aspect, you can keep detailed records of your research and findings. This will help you organize your information and it will help you track your progress. There are certain apps such as MyHeritage, wherein you can start gathering all the information that you receive or that you find out in your research, and you start structuring it in a family tree type of vibe where you're able to relate how all your ancestors are linked, right? You can also make the most of your visits to historical sites, cemeteries, and other relevant locations by taking photos, recording information, speaking with locals who may have additional insights. What I've picked up actually every time I go to the cemeteries, especially the extended family relatives, I discover new information about them, stuff I did not know before, stuff that makes me connect even deeper with the living relatives that I have surrounding me, whom were so distant, but all of a sudden I realized actually these people are not so distant from me. You know, we are the same blood. We are the same. We are one. You know, that unity and that togetherness is beautiful and it is to be cherished. It's not nice living through life alone. So when you have people that you can live through life with, it's always great. Okay, so we've spoken about ancestors. Now I've just mentioned the family tree, right? That you can now start gathering information about your ancestors and start building up of your family tree, right? What is the importance of this family tree and what is your role in it, right? When you understand your place in the family tree, it gives you a unique and important role in the family's history. I've heard some people say that, oh, black tax, when they're successful and now they have all these responsibilities that they have to take care of in terms of the family, extendeds, siblings, parents, and so forth, and people will be crying about black tax. And I've always said, and I still say even today, there is no such thing as black tax in the black community. Why? Because it's not black tax. It's your time to play your role. There are many other people that played their roles for you to get to where you are. So when you are playing your role, you are paying it forward so that the ones that come after you, they are able to also continue that legacy and grow this legacy. The whole point is growth. Remember, the ancestors that existed 200 years from now, they did not know what we know now. But everything that they achieved in that time has led us to this point where we are this advanced species. So there's a certain level of gratitude that we need to acknowledge, and there's a certain sense of responsibility that we need to assume upon ourselves to say that I am here because of the ones before me. And I will take this which I am and nurture it to the ones who are coming after me. Right? So a family tree serves as that visual representation of your ancestry, and it helps to understand how you are related to other members of your family. And it can also be a useful tool to trace your genealogy and discover your roots. It can also help you understand your place in the larger picture of your ancestry and appreciate the rich cultural and historical heritage that defines your identity. It's nice, guys, to have an identity, to know who you are. It's nice to be able to embrace who you are. And you cannot embrace what you do not know. Right? Yes. So how can you better understand your role in the family? First, it starts with yourself, understanding your place in the family tree, identifying your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and map out the relationships between them and how you then feature in all of that. For example, in me mapping out in the last 3 years that I've been back home in my original home. One of the key discoveries that I made, which was shocking, was the fact that all the peers that I had grown up with and I was Sisnumisa, it turned out that actually I'm not Sisnumisa, I am their aunt. I am a sister to their fathers. Though I am the younger sister because by virtue of how my father was born and all that, I end up being the young aunt, right? But I'm still an aunt. And being an aunt and being a sister are two different things. And for most of them, actually, when this became very clear that I'm not their sister, I am their aunt, they actually started addressing me differently. And I thought to myself, this aunt thing is making me seem so old and I don't want to age. I'm still young. But one of them once said to me, you need to understand that when you are an aunt, you are a parent. We need to acknowledge that parenting role that you will now play, especially because our fathers are no more. We have you now. That was quite a responsibility, right? But it humbled me in a way. And then I started realizing that actually I'm not just Numisa anymore. I'm much more than that. I have a line of others that are looking up to me, for guidance, for support, for comfort, for just a sense of togetherness. I have a responsibility to keep this family together. And so I cannot think of myself in my life the way I used to when I was just me and I was zipping through life, having a good time. I have to now start being more responsible, start playing a bigger role in my family's lives. So that is how understanding your role in the family tree can actually change how you live your life. Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? To me, I see it as a good thing because it makes me feel like I live my life on purpose. I mean, I was born for that purpose, right? Yes, I was born for that purpose. So it makes me live on purpose, right? Okay. So you then start with yourself. You gather information about the history. You look at all the photos that you can find, documents and all that. You can even look at census records, birth and death certificates, or any other official documents that you can find that can help you piece the family's story, right? And then from that information, you then create this family tree. And then when you've created this family tree, there's apps like my heritage that are very useful in maintaining that, because then you just input all the information and then it creates the structure in itself and it maintains the structure, and as you discover more information, you just keep putting it in and then it helps to make it look clean and neat like a typical family tree that you'd want to have. It's important also to share your findings with your fellow family members so that there's a commonality of understanding that in itself helps you connect together as a family so that you can have that stronger sense of family bonds, right? Remembering also that this process of understanding your role in the family tree is an ongoing process, right? You start small and then you continue to learn more as you get older, as you grow. Another aspect that I've discovered in that journey is the fact that as you start diving deeper into understanding your ancestors, you start understanding how your ancestors communicate. Sometimes we assume that because they are no longer on the earth, they do not communicate anymore. But once you start investigating the ways of your ancestors, you will start understanding how they communicate. For example, I've always been drawn to birds. I didn't understand why, but birds have always been a thing in my life. You know, uh, I can tell you now, like, the journal I bought recently, I didn't see it had birds, but it has birds. My cushions, they have birds. Like, my tattoo has birds. The things that I notice the most on the planet, birds. They follow me around. Now I've actually discovered why birds are so significant in my life. It's because it's a way for our ancestral lineage to communicate. We communicate through birds. We are Onozulu. We are sky people, So the only creatures that exist in the skies are birds, right? So that's why messages come through birds. That's why when I see birds, there are certain species, for example, that I've noticed wherein I know when I see them, they're always in pair. Initially, there was just one when it was just my mom that had passed, and then after my father had passed, then there were two. I promise you, I'm in Cape Town right now and I see those birds. When I'm at home, I will see them. When I'm in Johannesburg, I will see them. I will see them walking to the stores. When I step outside, chances are I will see those birds. I feel like they are watching over me. And that gives me that comfort that my ancestors, they are with me. One. Secondly, another aspect that you start getting strengthened on once you start understanding the ways of your ancestors to a deeper level is things like wisdom. There's things that you know and you don't know how you know this, but you just know it and you know it and you know it and you know it. Why? Because you came onto this earth with that knowledge already inside you through DNA. But now, if you do not acknowledge the fact that there's people that existed before you, that whom you carry their blood, you will not understand how you know, and you will not trust what you know based on just knowing, because you will think that no one taught me this, so there's no way I could know. Yes, it's possible, because your ancestors, all the knowledge that they acquired in their previous lifetimes, you come with that through your DNA. That's what we now call ancestral wisdom. And there's so much, it's so rich in us. But most of the time, we do not tap into it because we do not know how to tap into it. What happens then is once you start understanding the ways of your ancestors, then it becomes very easy to tap into that ancestral wisdom. And trust me when I tell you that once you step into ancestral wisdom, nothing is impossible. Because at that point, you are not just dealing with physical things that you can see, you are dealing with spiritual aspects of life. Remember, we are all spirits. When you start tapping into ancestral wisdom, you are tapping into spiritual wisdom. And remember that spiritual wisdom comes from God. So, I'd like to encourage you to actually pay attention to your ancestral lineage. If it's something that you had not really taken cognizance of, maybe it's time you start shaping it up, getting to understand it, digging deeper into it to see what it is that we can find through your ancestors that will actually help you feel more confident in yourself. Because remember what it's about being authentic and being comfortable in your authenticity, being confident in that which you are. Do not wish that you could be different. No, you have been created exactly the way that you are, purposefully, with an intention. And do not think that you were supposed to be a certain type of person. No, exactly the person that you are. Yabana right now, the way I am, Yabana, I'm drinking my wine. I'm all gangster. And this is exactly how my ancestors want me to be. The role that they have picked for me needs me to be this person. Right? Right. All right. So, this is all from me today. It's a Friday. I'm not gonna run the whole hour. I wanna chill and have a good time, and I wanna give you time to do that as well. What I'd like to ask you though is please drop a line in the comment section. Tell me, how do you feel about your ancestral lineage? How connected do you feel to your ancestors? And what it is that you think you can do in your life to actually strengthen your relationship with your ancestors. That is homework that I'm giving you that you can now digest. You're welcome to share in the comment section if you'd like to engage further on it, right? Also, remember, I have a presentation that I'm working through. However, I will not share it on social media. The only ones that will receive it are the ones that will inbox me with their email address. If you inbox me with your email address, then I will send you the presentation with all the content that I've been going through since day one. And my friend Lerato, I miss our wine sessions too. So, in lieu of that outstanding wine session we need to have very soon, cheers to you. Cheers to you. See you soon. June 16 is the date. Ne? Okay. Bye. Enjoy your evenings.